There's only so much room in a 4-minute song, so let's talk about it. We'll start with some stripped-down acoustic videos, and then a few girl chats. From self-love, dating, and relationships to chasing our dreams, no topic is off limits. There are lots of laughs, but it also gets deep. Join us as we bare our souls in the Beyond the Song series. Hi guys, hello ladies, hello gentlemen, and welcome. Today I have a few friends with me. My name is TAMISH, and I am doing something called the Beyond the Song series. The goal of the Beyond the Song series is to talk about the messaging behind the songs that I've written, so that we can all be healed from it, that we can all be inspired, and maybe we can reach you as well. Maybe you can relate. So, getting into it, what about when you guys started dating boys, all right? I know you guys all like boys, so I said that
yes,
way.
We're
not against, people not liking boys.
Yes.
But when you all started dating, how did you feel once you got to that age, that puberty, if you will, and you started, how did that possibly impact you? So we talked about, being a child and the teasing, but what about that other piece? The other sex.
So I'll just be completely vulnerable and transparent.
Oh, damn it.
No sugarcoating.
Yeah, I can't.
This raw room. Okay. So I didn't really start dating, I'd say, I was still in my childhood, everything is awesome phase until 17, 18. I didn't really even realize that I was a girl. I had tons of male friends and stuff like that, and I was like, we're gonna have fun. My parents had a pool, and we were always like,
Cali life.
Yeah, Cali life. Yeah, just having fun, being stupid. It's it really is like the movie Clueless. And I didn't know I was a girl. I had this awful afro that was completely unmanaged, and it was it was nothing. And I'd say it wasn't until 21 when I went to Vegas for the first time and started drinking. And I remember when the first guy looked at me the way he looks at, because all my other friends are these skinny, gorgeous dancer bitches. And the first time, he looked at me and I could tell he was looking at me. I was like, oh my God, he's looking at me. And it was just
across the
really,
room, right?
Yeah, it was really,
Music
really,
stopped.
exactly. Music stopped. It was weird. I moved to the Caribbean and lived there for a couple years, and Caribbean men just love bigger women, and so there was this goddess worship that I kind of got used to, and it was nice. Yeah. Moved back to the States, got a bit of more of a reality check. But I would say, so I didn't start having sex until I was 31. Mm-hmm. So there was this really long time of uber Christianness, and I'm not going to do that. I'm working on my career type shit. Mm-hmm. When I'd say New York was my manifestation of femininity, and I would say that is a whole different type of self-esteem, because in as much as I always loved myself, knowing that you are loved by the opposite sex, who don't translate or communicate the way we communicate, learning that about myself, and that I didn't have to look a certain way to be attracted to men, which I just assumed I did. Mm-hmm. It was very revealing. It was very honest, and it was very different. I'd say there was a lot of fear based in men. There really was. Not because men did anything wrong or had any bad male molestation, bad history. It's just ooh, I don't understand them. They're just over there. So I would say it was an interesting graduation, but I would say I didn't start manifesting, really manifesting as a woman till mid-20s, 30s. It was late for me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about you, Njeri?
Okay, so I really don't want to get into all of this.
True,
right? I mean, it's an open space, and we're on a healing train.
Yeah.
I'm sure that somebody may be able
safe
to relate. So, in the very, beginning of dating, I would say that I was probably too young to be experiencing a lot of what I experienced, because I was kind of I didn't really understand that at that moment. You're young, stuff going on. Sorry, Mom. At home or anywhere else, and you're looking for that validation. You're looking for that thing, and I kind of had a little bit of a predatory experience initially. I dated. He's my boyfriend, or whatever. But I had one of those kind of experiences with people that were older than me. Mm-hmm. But at the time, you're young. You think because you're getting attention from people that are older than you, that you think, oh yeah, I'm grown. I'm whatever. But it took me years to understand what happened to me.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. But outside of that, Like, so that was that. And
Yeah.
then going from that space to, okay, understanding, all right, oh yeah, now I'm in full mind as a real adult and, you know, dating people and, you know, going through that. And then even still, like, I ended up in a situation where I was kind of dating people that they didn't build me up. Like, it was like a still some kind of tear down thing. So not only was it happening on the female side, it was happening in that area too.
Yeah,
and not to put a dark cloud over everything, my life was not horrible from beginning to end, and neither was my dating life. I met, you know, many great guys and many great people who did contribute positive things to my life, but why I bring that up is because of the impact that it had on me mentally and spiritually, and what it took to even get to a sane place in my view of myself. So like, I learned that, okay, the energy that I'm putting out there is what I am getting back in other people. Like, and because there was that empty void, you know, like, it was, you know, it was an opportunity for that kind of energy to come into my life. Once I learned that I, you know, love and accept myself as I am and who I am, that, you know, I started to attract the right people into my life. But that came later, you know, that came as a, you know, I'm not even gonna say later, like I'm like 90, but you know what I mean?
Right.
It came when I became like an adult.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, that I realized that, you know, so it was good. And I mean, I honestly can't take anything away from that experience. Like, I like, it's definitely was painful to go through, but at the end of it all, if this is what it took to get me here, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm happy. And at least now, if I see that thing that I saw in myself in somebody else's eyes, that I can give something, I can impart something, I can share an experience that is not so pleasant, or not that I would tell everybody all my business, but you know, those moments when you're led to share certain parts of yourself for someone else's healing, it doesn't necessarily have to be public.
Yeah.
But, you know, when I see that look, I'll know, you know, if it resonates. So
Yeah. Wow.
Like,
We're coming back to you here. Dating. Yeah. So definitely, I don't feel like my parents did a very good job of talking to me about dating. So I snuck a lot when I was younger. And, you know, just got mesmerized by the attention and the attraction. My dad, Jamaican, like Njeri's family, my dad had this, you're gonna date when you're like 35. And my mom was like, that is probably the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard in my life. And so I had a lot of guy friends, but my mom, when I was in high school, I remember like 9th, 8th, or 9th grade, she allowed boys to come over because her thing was, if boys come here and you entertain here, then I know, you know, what you're doing and where you are, and you know that you're not sneaking around, even though, you know, as girls, we're kind of slick and we do what we do. But she definitely showed me the importance of guys courting me by coming to the house. That means the selection of guys that I dated, of course, had to be the type that I can bring to sit, to hold a conversation with my mother and to hold a conversation with my father, which kind of weeded out, you know, the drug dealers and the bad boys and all of that kind of stuff. Because I'm like, if you got tattoos in high school, like, you really can't be, right, you really can't be sitting down. Nothing against people with tattoos. I'm just saying kind of thoughts that I, you know, had that I wanted them to be appropriate for my parents. So my mom's philosophy on dating was, you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you get to your prince. And that is definitely true in life, because I have dated, I have had boyfriends. I've always been the type who's had boyfriends. But interestingly enough, my first true love is Jermaine. And that came much later in life, late 30s. And I say that only because he's the person that I feel like he's the person who knows me the best. He's the person who knows me intimately. He's the person that I can be most vulnerable with. So there have been guys before him who probably think they know me, but he gets to see me on a much more
intimate, vulnerable level than anybody I've ever dated. And so
Yeah.
I always tell him, there's a guy that I may have dated, in college, who probably thinks I dated her for 7 years. I know everything about her.
Like,
He
no.
can sit in a room and be like, yeah, no, you don't really know her at all. And I
Yeah.
know that's because of the healing that God has had to do on me from things that I've experienced in my childhood to where I am today, to be able to be that woman for him. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my history on dating.
Yeah. Were things in your childhood or with previous relationships, would you say they impacted your self-esteem? Can you think of anything that impacted your self-esteem in a negative way?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Outside of the teasing, I guess. Is there anything else that you could think of?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. From being molested at a very early age from family members who were very close to me, that has definitely impacted the way that I view myself. It has impacted my relationship with men. It has, it has impacted, who I am today. Yeah. Yes.
That's a massive one, because nobody ever wants to talk about molestation.
Right.
No one.
At all.
That's the most taboo
Right.
topic that, and maybe it's just amongst people of color, or maybe it's just period.
Well,
I don't
because
know.
it's been going on
but-
for so long, and we like to, especially when our families of color, it's just one of those things that we don't talk about, and we kind of sweep under. Oh, that's
Hush.
just Uncle such and such.
Yeah.
That's just brother blah 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 blah. And I feel like we are way too cavalier about it, and that is why I do openly talk about it. I talk about it with my niece, who is now 11 years old. I talk about it with my nephews. I talk about it with my goddaughter, who's 5. I feel like we need to have more
Be
conversation.
really unapologetic about it.
Yeah,
Open.
it has to be in your face. It has to be just like what Njeri said, about having that relationship with that older guy.
Yeah,
you
and
know
not
what I
realizing
mean?
at that
Yeah,
time.
and not
Yeah.
realizing, because we don't have these types of transparent conversations about men and our bodies and touches and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like so much heartache and so much of what I have gone through as a child could have been avoided if there had just been some conversation.
Yeah.
Open, unapologetic conversations.
Dialogue.
Yeah,
and conversation.
yeah. My mom told me, so I'm one of 4, well, there's 5 of us, but there's 4 girls.
Okay.
And I can't remember a time in my life where my mother hasn't told me what I thought was really sick at the time, but now I realize why she said it. She was like, I don't care who puts hands on you. I don't care if it's your father. You need to come and tell me.
Yeah.
She was like, it wasn't
that's
till
massive.
late. I wasn't until much later when I realized there was an uncle in her life
Yeah.
that didn't
Yeah.
touch her, but was touching other girls.
Right.
And I couldn't spend the night at anyone's house. And
Yeah.
she was
Me
like,
Me neither.
She said they can spend the night
But it was
here.
family.
Yeah.
Me neither. Me
Yeah,
neither.
she was like, they can spend the night here, but
Right.
they can't. You can't. Because she was just like, I feel like once the damage is done, what can I do?
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do to unmolest you.
Yeah.
And she was like, you can hate me all you want to. People can have all the sleepovers they want, but
Yeah.
my child, I will know where she is when she's asleep.
My mom
and
too.
yeah, and I feel that open dialogue about it has taught me to be really unafraid of things like that, and really unafraid of those conversations and unafraid of, the dialogue about it, because you get 4 women, this is 4 women here, you get 4 women in a room and there's somebody who it happened to, of all colors and all races, and that's just awful, absolutely awful. And it happens because, you create the environment, what's that thing they say, when good people do nothing, that's when evil's allowed to happen. And there has to be an open dialogue about things like that. My father was an amazing man and he never touched me, but that never ever happened. But to know that my mom would have my back if something like that happened,
which is so many families, households,
it really is.
that is a completely
different story.
Which kind of, I guess, circles back to the conversation we were having earlier. I think that's why when I hear you're so pretty, it's like, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
It makes me very uncomfortable,
gives me
because as a
chills.
because as a young child, you hear that and you know things are not right, and you know that it's not good, but because you're seduced by that type of being, even a young girl, of someone telling you, you're so pretty, you fall victim to a lot of things.
How do you change the narrative? Am I allowed to ask questions?
Yeah.
so something like that happens to you, and it's really, you can edit this, fucked up. There's nothing else to say about it. How do you change that narrative where you're so pretty isn't a perversion? Like, how do you get to the point where, you know, you take out all this other stuff and start uploading good things so You're So Pretty can be translated any way you want. You know, you're beautiful inside and out, you're a powerful person, you're vulnerable, you know how to love, and all of those other things. How does You're So Pretty start to translate into that? Like, how do you upload new thoughts?
Just owning who I am and knowing that,
and speaking the truth, like letting that truth be.
Yes, being able to be transparent and being able to be vulnerable, which has taken me years. I'm telling you, like years, to be able to finally have that conversation with, you know, my parents, you know. But the more that I talk about it, the more that you shed the dead weight, right? And the more that you shed the scars, and the more that, you know, I look in the mirror and I can say and I can accept, you know, that about myself, but also knowing that at 5, I'm not who I was.
Yeah.
At 43.
Yeah. I just say I think this is clearly you're some time passed, but so I think that's amazingly just brave to even share that.
Yeah.
Because I know so many people that have been molested, or I hear like close friends or things like that.
Yeah.
That one haven't said anything about it. They said something to me, haven't said anything to their parents whatsoever, afraid to even approach the conversation. And it's just this looming bit of like, I don't know, just fear around all of it. So I feel like it's still holding the person captive because they won't let it be, and then you're allowing that person to have something over you and then possibly hurt somebody else because no one's saying anything about it. Like, especially if no one's saying anything, like, and you're scared to say it to your parents or whatever it may be. So hopefully that's freeing for somebody.
My greatest victory, and I'm going to move on from this, honestly, is telling my father and my father doing something about it.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Wow. Yeah.
That's my greatest. That's what allows me to sleep at night, to know that my parents had my back.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's really important, and it also shows that, I mean, I think it's that way because of how women are perceived, I think culturally even. You hear something like that, or like any of our stories or people that we know, and the first question is, what did she do? Was she fast?
Right.
Did she do this? Did she do that? Like, even talking about this just now in this moment, I realized that my first encounter, I was 12 years old. 12. And the person was, I think at the time, 20, and told me that they were, I don't know, 16 or 17, but even then, that's still, but that was my first boyfriend.
Yeah.
So how does that look?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't even realize how young I was until this moment.
Point,
I'm thinking back, and I'm looking at the little picture. Like, I found it the other day, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, I can see it now because I'm an adult. But at that time, you know, and then that just turned into other experiences that related right to that one.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize the connection until that moment.
Wow.
So.
Whew, interesting. Lord. I would say for me, one, thank you all. I appreciate you even being transparent and sharing your stories and sharing everything. And may it be liberating to somebody at the end of the day. May somebody see something, whether it's a younger person or someone that is older. I have someone actually that I know that's 40 that hasn't really verbalized something that happened to them. Like, for an example, I've been carrying it for a while. So, you know, being able to really share that, and maybe it will liberate somebody and take them to another place to know that, you know, this happened to you, this might have impacted you, and whether it's bullying or whatever it may be, all those different things, how that, you know, has impacted our stories, but you all sit here strong and amazing and bosses, like really bosses, like in the midst of all that's going on. So let me tell you all that you are enough. You are enough.
More than enough.
Yes. More than enough in the midst of everything that you've experienced. So I appreciate you sharing. I really
Thank you for the conversation.
Thank you. It was awesome.
Thank you for the safe space.
Yes. We have to do this again because I have like 5,000 things to talk to you all about. But apparently I can't do all of it because, you know, I can't. But I appreciate you all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Should we like hug this thing out? Should it be one of those moments?
We are enough.
how much time do you all put into your outer appearance? Would you say?
None.
She's ready for it. Yeah.
I'm like, what am I gonna wear? What's clean?
Do you all shop a lot? No.
No.
Okay, good, because I hate shopping. Just wondering. Just
No, I love to shop.
Oh, you love it.
Just my financial situation. Like, the way my
bank account is set up.